on the subsidies, except for a guarantee from Senate Majority Leader John Thune of a vote on the Senate floor. New Hampshire Senator Jean Shaheen was one of the Democrats who voted for the plan.
Leader Thune has agreed that we will have a bill that we will write that will give us an opportunity to work on those health care costs. And we believe there are a lot of Republicans, including a lot of Trump supporters, who want to see us do something about this because their costs are going up.
The pain Americans are facing at airports across the country is expected to get worse this week. U.S. airlines canceled more than 1,500 flights Saturday and more than 2,900 Sunday to comply with an FAA order to reduce traffic, as some air traffic controllers who have gone unpaid for nearly a month have stopped showing up for work. As of this morning, airlines had already canceled 1,600 flights for Monday and nearly 1,000 for Tuesday. This is Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy.
We have done all we can to make sure we minimize disruption, that we keep the airspace safe. And again, I didn't create the problem. It's Senate Democrats who did.
Turning Point USA holds its final event of this tour at UC Berkeley in California tonight. Headlining the event is Christian author Dr. Frank Turek.
Charlie had two basic messages. One is that we're all fallen on the right and the left. We all need a savior because God is infinitely just, and we have not lived up to that standard, regardless of our politics. And so Jesus came into this world, added humanity to his deity, lived the perfect life in our place. And by trusting in him, we can not only be forgiven, but given his righteousness. That was Charlie's central message, and we're going to continue that. His second message is that we need to conserve what is good, right, and true in our nation. And one of the things we need to conserve is free speech. And Berkeley, back in the 1960s, was all about free speech. But I've noticed, and I know you've noticed, that some of the people on the left, although they say they're fighting for inclusion, tolerance, and diversity, will not include you and will not tolerate you for holding a diverse view. So we're going to go into the lion's den today.
A California-based conservative activist says the just-passed Prop 50 Democrat redistricting plan will be challenged in court.
Following the passage of Prop 50, there will be even fewer Republican congressional members following the 2026 midterms. California voters backed Governor Gavin Newsom's plan to redraw the state's congressional districts in favor of Democrats. Kevin McGarry is president of the Frederick Douglass Foundation of California.
I think that, first of all, California should not have done it. We have very, very small representation as it is. They're really trying to completely squash the voice of Republicans in the state. This is what happens when you have delusional, diabolical figureheads like Gavin. They don't care about fairness or anything like that. He's saying he's doing this in response to Texas. But the reality is Texas is another state, has nothing to do with California. Why would you disenfranchise your voters, the voters in your state, because of some actions of another state? It makes no sense. It's completely illogical. But the commies in the state were all over this in a big way.
But McGarry says his gerrymandering plan will be challenged in court.
President Trump has already said that they have a couple of legal challenges, I believe, coming from the DOJ. I know I have a friend, Mark Moisier, who is also an attorney here in the state, and I think he's already put up the challenges, and it's working through the system at present. So there's at least 3 lawsuits that I'm aware of that are trying to help your average California citizen actually get their voices heard by way of the ballot box and actually turn back this whole redistricting thing to the redistricting committee, which the Democrats put in place just a few years ago.
I'm Chad Groening.
More news available online at afn.net and download the AFN mobile app. I'm Rusty Pugh.
As we watch world events unfold and fulfill Scripture, it's hard to believe anyone could doubt God and His Word are real. And yet there are so many who either question or completely refuse to believe it. The God Who Speaks is a 90-minute documentary that hits the doubt head-on with evidence that proves God is real and His Word is the ultimate authority. Watch it anytime and invite others to watch with you. Just visit stream.afa.net. That's stream.afa.net.
Welcome to Today's Issues, offering a Christian response to the issues of the day. Here's your host, Tim Wildmon, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's issues on the American Family Radio Network. Today's Monday, November the 10th, 2025. And as always, we thank you for listening to AFR. Joining me in studio today is Ed Vitagliano. Good morning, Brother Ed.
Good morning, Tim.
And Christopher Woodward.
Good morning.
Chris, I'll start with you. Your weekend?
It was great. Very restful. Had a good time. My daughters, I have two daughters that play volleyball, and their team and parents of the players had a little get together. Had a nacho bar, played some cornhole, roasted marshmallows. Good time was had by all.
Oh, you did three things there. You played cornhole, which is
it's the dads of the volleyball players.
Okay, and then you had roasted marshmallows.
Mm-hmm.
And what else? What was the third thing?
A nacho bar.
A nacho bar. Did you work on that?
I helped pick up the food.
You mean after it was over?
No, I went with one of the other dads to pick up the food.
For the nacho bar. Okay, nacho
now, is this the thing my daughter, my granddaughter missed?
Yes.
She's sick. She's got hoof and mouth disease. Mm-hmm. No, actually, it's hand, foot, mouth. But I always call it hoof and mouth.
It is. Yes. My daughter and your granddaughter are teammates.
I just say, you can stay away from that if you don't put your hoof in your mouth.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody's.
That's true.
You can avoid it if you want.
And I've been doing that all my life.
Right.
Putting your hoof in my mouth.
Putting your hoof in your
You're
mouth.
just born that way as a man, I think.
Okay.
It's in the Bible
before we get to the actual news of the day, there was a Arctic blast. Was it an Arctic or was it some kind of vortex?
It's an Arctic vortex.
That came down from the north.
Yes. Well, as you said last week, a Arctic cortex.
An Arctic cortex, he was also an explorer.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
He was.
But that's kind of what this is named after.
He's trying to fact check Christopher Columbus to make sure the world was round.
But anyway, seriously,
that great explorer.
The Arctic. I don't know how many states were affected. Like half the country, right?
Pretty much the eastern seaboard, plus some parts of the southeast, like Ray's new digs. The high tomorrow, where Ray Pritchard lives, the high is only like 58, which for where he moved in the Tampa area is pretty chilly. It's still cold out.
It's a deep freeze for a lot of folks in the.
But like 2 days, and then it's right back to the.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Yeah,
I hate cold weather.
Right there with you.
Yeah.
Preach, as they say.
I mean, all right. You're listening to today's issues on American Family Radio. Tim, Ed, and Chris. And Chris, what is your first actual news story?
All right. Well, it appears that over the weekend, Independent Senator Angus King and a few other Democrats that all caucus together voted with Republicans to reopen the government. Final votes are still needed today in the Senate and the House. Matter of fact, the Senate is set to reconvene this hour in Washington, D.C., so it's not over yet, but it's looking like the very long and perhaps unnecessary government shutdown is coming to an end, which is good news because there's a lot of people still waiting on planes. Fox right now is interviewing people. 1,600-plus flights canceled, 3,000-plus delayed as a result of the government shutdown. You match that with the SNAP benefit situation, and a lot of people are ready for this to be over.
Well, it was the longest. The big story is that 8 Democrat senators, and I don't know how many were needed.
Well, that includes 2 independents who usually caucus with the Democrats.
Okay, they decided that they were going to go against their party, right? Mm-hmm. And vote to end the federal government shutdown.
Correct.
Okay.
I have the list here if you want me to read the people that voted.
I'd like it.
We're
in
curious.
honor of Hernando Cortex.
Yes.
The great explorer.
All right. So, in addition to Independent Senator Angus King of Maine, who again caucuses with Senate Democrats.
Gotta love that first name right there.
Angus.
Angus King.
Yeah.
I mean, he sounds like he's ready to conquer something.
That's
right.
Or eat a big steak.
Yeah, one or the other.
Yeah. In addition to Senator Angus King of Maine, we've got Nevada Senators Cortez Masto and Jackie Rosen. Catherine Cortez Masto of Nevada. Jackie Rosen of Nevada. We've got Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois. Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania. Senators Maggie Hassan and Senators Jean Shaheen of New Hampshire, along with Tim Kaine of Virginia. I'll post the list.
Man, our country's changed, hasn't it? There's no more Debbie Johnsons out there in the Senate. Everybody's got an unusual name, but anyway. So the eight Democrats.
Dick Durbin kind of surprised me, as did
because
Tim
he's
Kaine.
a leader.
Yeah.
In the Senate for the Democrats. So, all right. So this means the federal government shutdown will be over, and if you want to look at it this way, at least temporarily until January. Would you say this is a win for President Trump and the Republicans, or not?
Again, like you said, in terms of long term, we'll have to wait because this is a postponement for the, I think, continuing resolution. But and Chris can give us details of this.
Can't wait.
I think this would be a win for Republicans. I think it was increasingly looking bad for Republicans. Here's the thing we sometimes say. Perception is reality. People have heard that expression before. It doesn't matter to a lot of people out there, voters, if you get technical and say, well, the Democrats are the ones who are holding the economy hostage. Because Republicans are in charge of the White House and both houses of Congress, it very easily can be made to look like Republicans were the ones doing the shutdown. And when you're talking about people getting SNAP benefits, I said this last week. I'll say it again today. The fraud that goes on with SNAP benefits, the fact that people don't have to work if they can for SNAP benefits, the expansion of that program to include, just millions of people, all those issues, set them in a basket off to the side. You can't go into, Chris, you said this during our story meeting this morning, Thanksgiving with people not having food to eat. I've been getting posts on social media, seeing posts about local food banks, churches running out of food. Mm-hmm. And it was going to wind up looking like the Republicans were causing all that. And so I look at this as a win for Republicans to get these 8 independents/Democrats to come along and open the government. Mm-hmm. And it looks better for President Trump, who seemed like this, again, just the perception. I don't believe this, but the perception was he was fighting against getting people food. And I know our listeners are going, that's not fair. That's not a fair. I'm not saying it. Right. I'm saying you don't want to be the president leading your party into an election year, 2026, making it look like you have a problem with people getting food when they need it. So that's why I say it looks like a win for President Trump, too.
Okay. His polling numbers were going down, President Trump's, because of the reasons you just said. Yeah. The perception among the general public, by and large, not Republican voters, not conservatives, and you may say, well, that's not fair. I'm just telling you, was that because he was the president and the Republicans did have control of the House and the Senate, they're the ones who can solve the problem, and they haven't. Now, that doesn't get into the Democrats being able to put a wrench in everything. So, but now that it's over, then I think the fallout from the negative fallout for President Trump that was building is going to subside. That's what I think is going to happen. Yeah. Now, with polls, you have to look at who's doing the polling and what their reputation is and what their agenda might be. That's why I'm always leery of citing polls. But if you're going to cite a poll on a good day, you got to be willing to cite that same poll on a bad day. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about whatever a good and a bad day is defined as in your politics. Right. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Because I know a lot of people will cite polls and they'll say, look, this side's doing good, or this issue's doing good, or the president's doing good. But then 3 weeks later, when the polls are reversed by the same polling firm that you cited 3 weeks ago, that's what I'm saying. You got to be careful about the polling firm. Even
if polls are legitimate, okay. In other words, the company, the group doing them are not biased. They're honestly trying.
Right.
It's still a snapshot in time.
Yeah, exactly.
And people's feelings and beliefs about a particular topic can change almost overnight. So, to your point, you gotta take good and the bad.
I don't want to bring up the financial apocalypse that might happen down the road, but there's probably going to come a day in the next 10 years or so when this federal government shutdown that we're experiencing is going to be something that is permanent and going to have to be dealt with, because the United States of America has completely run out of money and can't borrow enough anymore to get it through. I'm just saying that could happen down the road if we continue, because the amount of debt, I know people are bored with this story, and I am too, and we're tired of hearing about it because there's nothing we can do about it at this point.
Because there's nobody willing to do anything about it.
No.
Because it'd be hard.
No, yeah, you're talking about we're going, what, a couple $1 trillion in the hole every year now?
We're currently, we just passed the $38 trillion threshold in the last couple of weeks in terms of total debt.
Right. And so, how long can you keep going on with that? I remember asking a congressman 5 or 10 years ago, whenever it was, I asked a couple of them, I said, how much debt can the United States incur before we see a Great Depression type number 2 happen? And nobody can ever tell you. And maybe there's not a particular, place you can be, because if you can go to 38 trillion in debt, can you go to 100?
And we're paying $1 trillion a year on interest,
right,
on the national debt, which is now a larger number than national defense spending.
Right.
And what you're talking about is at some point, all the government money, all the government revenues will be paid towards the debt, and at that point, the government becomes insolvent.
But we've been being warned about this for a long time.
Oh, sure.
But it's a subject that doesn't interest the Tea Party.
Yeah, the Tea Party back in.
So that was the last gasp of fiscal responsibility effort by a big number of large number of Americans.
But not a large enough percentage, even in the Republican Party, to have the lasting power it needed to make changes, even amongst Republicans. Even Republicans, except for a few handfuls of Republicans,
right?
Even Republicans don't care about it.
Yeah. Do you guys want to guess what our national debt was when we entered the year 2000?
Little nostalgia.
What?
From Chris, what?
$5.7 trillion.
In the year what?
In the year 2000. 5.7 trillion, and today we're almost 40 trillion.
Yeah.
A lot of that's just in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
That was the war on terror started, then the Obama years, and then COVID, and then Trump 2 terms. The blame goes for both political parties.
It does.
Because neither of them were interested. I've said this is my personal opinion, is that George W. Bush got Republicans on the spending train because he saw how successful Bill Clinton was in defeating his father, George H.W. Bush, in the re-election campaign of 92. Mm-hmm. Bill Clinton promising money for this, money for that. If you don't want to spend money on federal education, that means you don't care about education.
Right.
George W. Bush learned that and said, you know what, we'll spend money too. Mm-hmm. Okay, and
also it's a reflection of the American voter. I mean, and I think Republicans are rightly. I'm not saying that. I'm not arguing about principle here. Okay, I'm arguing about just the political realities of the day and the moment, and now, the here and now. When somebody's running for office as a congressman or a senator, those are the federal, or president. they don't want to talk about cuts
No.
in federal spending because somebody's affected by that, who has a constituency, who has voters, and who can make a lot of noise. And so if you say, as you say, we're going to be against, we're going to cut this or cut that or cut this, then the other party, now in particular, Republicans have become very sensitive to this now, and so they don't resist spending anymore, is because they're accused of wanting to, cut Social Security benefits, for example. Well, Republicans aren't really going to cut Social Security benefits, but the Democrat, if they say anything about reforming Social Security to make it more solvent for the future, then the Democrats jump on that and say,
Yes.
see, the Republicans want to push grandma off the
You're
And
right.
so, listen, some of the
and guess
fault,
what? I'm grandpa now.
Yeah.
You know?
Some of the fault in this lies in the American voter.
Oh, yeah.
Because the American voter falls for
Yeah,
that.
oh, yeah.
That's true. That to your point, oftentimes when a
I have a point. I have many more points.
oh, you do.
Yeah.
Well, to your point, oftentimes when a politician, mostly a Republican, talks about Social Security reform, they're talking about things that are going to help it be there for me and Brent. It's not going to impact
Right.
you,
I
but
hope
it's
not.
always
I care
covered
about
them.
number one.
Well,
It's
you
right.
know
You know what
that-
the Bible teaches?
There is an
Ed?
I in Tim, and I mean it. Yes.
That is a good point because I don't want to lose. I'm not on Social Security right now, but I don't want to lose it. So if someone were to come to me and say, "All right, we got to do the hard things, Ed. If we're
Right.
going to make this solvent
Right.
for your kids and your
Right.
grandkids," guess what I'm going to go? We're kicking this can down the road.
Yeah. If they came to you and said, we're going to have to push that eligibility age to 75,
Oh, it's gonna. It's
what would
increase.
Ed say?
I would say not on my watch. You're not getting my vote.
Yeah. Well,
Oh.
and see, that's where it's poorly communicated. But really, because really, when they're talking about raising the age, it's not for people that are on it or about to be on it. They're again talking about the two,
Yeah, but
myself and Brent.
But I remember they were, telling us back when I was 40 that Social Security wasn't going to be there for me,
Yeah.
and it is now.
We're stretching it.
But I'm just saying, as you said, and we don't want to talk about doomsday here too much, but there is going to be a day of reckoning somewhere down the road, probably in the next 10 years or so, that you're going to reach that point where I don't know what's going to happen exactly, but you're going to reach that point where the federal government can't pay its bills any longer.
Right. Okay. So can we leave the doomsday subject?
We can.
I'd like to talk about villains.
Let's do that.
I'd like
Let's
to
move
talk.
on.
I'd like to talk
Okay,
about
let's move.
Nancy Pelosi.
Let's
Yes.
I want to talk about a sure enough villain.
All right. What Nancy Pelosi do that upsets you, Ed?
Well, okay, you go. Yeah.
No, you go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, Chris
This-
has got the
this
hard
story,
news, and Ed's got.
Over the weekend, I sent it to Chris and Steve and all of them, and I said, we got to cover this
Yeah.
because this made me hot.
Okay.
And I'm not just talking about the sweater I'm wearing.
Right. You're talking
Because
about your
it's 37
attitude.
inside.
Talking about my attitude.
Yeah, it's no wonder now that Nancy Pelosi can afford all that ice cream that's in her ridiculous refrigerator that she took a picture of 4 or 5 years ago that we talked about on the show. Here's the headline here. Whopping wealth of Nancy Pelosi under scrutiny as it's revealed she has earned $131 million in stock profits while in Congress. $131 million in stock profits while in Congress. She already makes well into the six figures being a member of Congress. She's going to get a pension based on that, for those not aware of it. And she's become quite the multimillionaire at a time when she's been lockstep in agreement with Democrats saying we need to tax the rich.
What is she worth? By the way, this
How do we know this? This had to be public information, right?
Yes.
Disclosed.
Yes, this is a New York Post analysis and found that before first taking office in 1987, Pelosi and her husband reported between $610,000 and $785,000 in stocks in their portfolio. That has now gone up to $133.7 million. But here's the thing that blew me away. Okay, I'm not opposed to people getting rich. I'm opposed to people getting rich when it only looks like they have access to information that nobody else has because she's a member of Congress. Her profits in terms of stocks and returns, she made a 16,930% profit.
I want her stockbroker.
Yeah. How did 60,930%?
Yeah.
Profit.
Instead of E.F. Hutton, you should listen when Nancy speaks. About
So my question, and this is just a question. I'm just asking questions here.
Yeah, okay.
Did she have
Tucker
access? Oh man, that's a terrible thing to say.
Go ahead.
Did she have access to information that nobody else has? What we used to call insider trading. I don't. And by the way, I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. You shouldn't be going up there. I'm not opposed to people making some money.
Yeah.
Okay. But if it looks like all these people go up there poor and then go home rich, something needs to change.
You have to say.
Yeah. Your earlier question, how much is she worth? According to the New York Post, because they're the ones that did this information, and other people are piggybacking off of the New York Post coverage here. The Pelosi's are worth an estimated $280 million today.
That's more than double what I'm worth.
Problem is they
Way
run
more.
Problem is they run out of good health and life expectancy to enjoy it.
Well,
So
she does eat ice cream.
You've accumulated it, but man,
Remember that when she had her freezer? Somebody saw was $30 a half gallon.
Yeah,
or something crazy like that.
Her refrigerator was bigger than a New York City apartment.
This was during COVID.
Yeah.
She got interviewed, and
I remember that.
Showing the reporter her home and her freezer, and she bragged. Did I have the price right on that? She bragged to this reporter that she had these little half gallons of ice cream in this big freezer that were $30.
There was the picture.
Wow.
Yeah.
Eating her little high price.
$30 for a gallon of ice cream?
Half a gallon.
The New York Post cover story that time was Dessert Storm.
Wow. Okay, then. All right, you're listening to today's issues on American Family Radio. Tim, Ed, and Chris. Take our break. Go ahead and take our break. Is Brother Frank going to be on with us? Frank Turek. Brother Frank Turek.
Okay, I'm sorry. I quoted the wrong price for her ice cream. It's $52 per half gallon.
Oh, a half gallon.
$52.
So what you're saying is a spoonful is $1. Am I right?
Well, it was $13
What kind of ice
pint.
cream? You got the brand name on that?
Jenny's.
That's a high value.
Mail order ice cream.
That doesn't sound legal to me.
Speaker of the House.
A mail order.
She's got a prescription for it.
Oh, MAIL.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll be back in a minute. Stay with us.
It's my turn.
Here is your host for My Turn, Don Wildmon.
You have probably heard this story, but it's one which is worth hearing again and again. Once there was a small boy who would lie about everything. His father tried several times to get his small son to stop lying, but nothing seemed to work. One day, however, his father came up with an idea which he thought would surely cause the boy to quit lying. The father put a post in the front yard of the home. He called his young son in and told him that each time the boy told a lie, he would drive a nail into the post. Well, the young boy didn't stop lying, and the father began driving nails into the post. Quite often someone would ask the boy what the post with the nails was doing in his front yard. The boy, not wanting the truth known, would tell another lie. Before long, the post was nearly full of nails. Well, one day the young boy came home and told his father that he was tired of lying and wished to begin telling the truth. His father was overjoyed. He told his son that every time he told the truth, a nail would be removed from the post. One by one, the nails were pulled out. After some time, the post was free of nails. When the boy saw that the last nail had been removed, he asked his father about removing the post. His father said he would. Together they went out to do the appointed task. The young boy looked at the post, thought for a moment, and then spoke to his father. "Daddy, the nails are gone, but the holes where the nails were are still there." The father turned to his son, hesitated for a moment, then replied, "Yes, son, they are. We can put putty in the holes, smooth them over, and even paint the post, but the scars which the holes made will always be in the post." It is true that every lie we tell drives a nail in our character. The nails can be removed, but the scar will remain for a long time. Of course, the post was not a living object and had no way to heal itself. But as living humans, over a period of time, we can grow new tissue and the scar will disappear. Telling a lie will leave its mark, to be sure. We will never be able to change the hurt and agony it causes. But we can change the cause of our lying, that is, ourself. The post could do nothing to what was happening to it, but the boy could, and did. And of course it was the father who pointed out the need for change to his child. On a higher plane, the boy represents us, and the father represents God. God has told us that lying hurts us, that it drives nails into our character. But he has also said he's willing to remove those nails and even heal the scars left by the nails. His requirement is a change of attitude and practice on our part. The laws of living which God has given us, including the one against lying, are given for our good. Unlike the post, our characters need not decay when the nails are removed, but can live and grow stronger by the application of God's truth.
This has been My Turn with Don Wildmon, a production of the American Family Association.
Jesus said, "Let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these." Matthew 19:14.
This is Today's Issues. Email your comments to comments@afr.net. Past broadcasts of Today's Issues are available for listening and viewing in the archive at afr.net. Now, back to more of Today's Issues.
You guys are college football fans, right?
Yes.
Watch college football on the weekend?
Yeah.
Did you see the way Indiana beat Penn State?
I sure did.
I did not. They barely beat them, didn't they?
They barely beat them. They were playing at Penn State. Indiana's number 2, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Indiana Hoosiers, and I'm not talking basketball.
Right.
This is a new world.
Yeah.
Yes.
Vanderbilt is also having a great season. It's a new world, yes.
But the Indiana receiver and quarterback, they won with seconds left in the ball game, and the receiver made one of the greatest catches in the history of college football. You got to watch this.
Okay.
But his foot, you got to have one foot in bounds in college.
Right.
Pros, you got to have 2. His foot like an inch or 2 to keep them undefeated. And
because they won 27-24, so that was a last second touchdown?
Last second.
I'm watching that at lunch.
It was one of the greatest catches you'll ever see. But anyway, when they say sports oftentimes is a game of inches, it literally is oftentimes a game of inches. But that was phenomenal. But yeah, the Indiana Hoosiers, again,
undefeated.
Not basketball now, undefeated and ranked number 2, and deservedly so, in the country. All right, you're listening to Today's Issues on American Family Radio. Well, our good friend Dr. Frank Turek is out in California getting ready for an event with Turning Point USA, and he agreed to come on with us this morning. Hey, Frank, how you doing?
I am in the land of fruit and nuts.
Oh, it's no longer fruits, huh? They've been reduced to a fruit and nuts, huh? Land of fruit. What are you doing out in California? Where are you, and what's going on?
Well, California's a beautiful state. Shows you that what God can create, man can mess up.
That's true.
But I'm actually in San Francisco right now, but tonight we're at UC Berkeley with TPUSA. I was supposed to be here with Charlie Kirk. Charlie's going to remain in glory. But me and the comedian Rob Schneider are going over to UC Berkeley. There'll be some other students speaking too. So we're speaking at the probably most liberal campus in the country, or one of them anyway.
Yeah,
So,
what's going to be the
what's going
to be the format for you guys?
Well, it's a 2-hour event. There's some students that are speaking first. I'm only going to speak for about 20 minutes, and then Rob's going to come up and he'll speak, and he may do some Q&A. So it's a bunch of us. And we're just continuing the tour that we were supposed to do. And I'm just going to obviously talk about what happened to Charlie, talk a little bit about evil, and talk about the gospel, because that's really what Charlie was all about, the gospel first and politics second. So that's what we're going to do.
Frank, at an event like this for Turning Point USA, I know that Charlie Kirk would invite young people at these campus meetings who disagreed with him to ask questions. Do you expect there to be people there at Berkeley who are opposed to the gospel, opposed to conservatism, all these kinds of things? Or is this going to be mostly fans of Charlie and just kind of a let's keep going kind of event?
I don't know. We'll find out when we get there. It's sold out. It's about 2,000 seats, so we'll see. I've noticed that when they were down at Ole Miss, and I know, Tim, you were there.
Yeah.
It was mostly believers. So we'll see. We'll see what happens tonight.
Yeah, the event at Ole Miss, when was that? Like 10 days ago or so, or 2 weeks ago or so, was 10,000 people.
Yeah.
And the vast majority of them were supportive of Charlie Kirk, and were there to, and Erica, his widow, was there along with Vice President Vance. So it was I know Frank Turek's going to be there, but we're talking about the Vice President of the United States.
Yeah. Right.
Now, but it was an amazing event. You're right. But now Vice President Vance did ask those who disagreed with him or the Trump administration to come forward and be first in line to ask their questions. So I did admire him for that, and they did. There were some very hard and difficult questions that he was challenged with. But well, listen, we're going to pray for you. We will pray for you and ask our listener to pray for you. Pray for Frank Turek today, and Rob Schneider and the other Rob Schneider. I got that right?
Yeah.
I had a childhood friend named Rob Schneider. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but he wasn't the comedian that we're talking about here. But they will be in California tonight at Berkeley. As Frank said, it's a very liberal place, and wouldn't surprise me if there are not protesters outside the event.
Yeah.
And what can we watch that on your channel, Frank?
I think it's going to be live streamed on the TPUSA Rumble channel. Mm-hmm. The TPUSA Rumble channel.
Like, so let's get ready to.
Yeah.
What's that?
Like let's get ready to.
Yeah, exactly. It's not my event. Otherwise, it would be on the Cross Examined channel, and I would take questions. But this event it's not organized by me. I'm just an invited guest.
I got you.
But it will be on the TPUSA Rumble channel. So please check that out. If you go to Rumble, it's kind of a YouTube that doesn't censor people.
I got you.
Rumble.
Yeah.
I got you.
So
we'll
you
check
can
that
find
out.
the TPUSA channel on Rumble. It'll be there. And it starts at 9:30 Eastern, so 6:30 here on the West Coast.
Okay, so 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 p.m.
Central
time. Okay.
I'll roll on it tonight and see.
Anything else you want to say before we let you go?
Well, it's 2 months to the day that Charlie was murdered. And I miss that guy every day, and I know the country does as well. So just pray that enough people rise up and do what he was doing, preaching the gospel, answering questions, and showing people the right way to live is to conserve what we know is true. That's what conservatism is all about. Conserve what we know is true. And to know Jesus and to make him known is why we're here. So let's try and spread that word. And we need to be engaged in every area of life, because Christianity is a worldview that believes that we ought to be engaged in every area of life, including the political realm, for the good of everyone. If we're going to love our neighbors, then we want to put laws in place that protect them from evil. And if we have that opportunity and don't take it, we're not loving our neighbors.
Hey, let me ask you, amen to everything you just, let me ask you a question. Frank and I haven't discussed or talked prior to this request that he be on with us today from California, although we have Frank on once a week if we can, just to discuss various and sundry topics. So, Frank, if you want to answer this question by saying, I don't want to talk about it, that's fine too, because I could understand why. But what about the person who shot Charlie was arrested, and is he in trial or something like that?
He's going through that
procedure. Going through the process or whatever like that. So, what am I trying to ask?
Tyler Robinson.
Huh?
Tyler Robinson.
Okay. So do you believe that he's the one who shot and killed Charlie, and that's the end of the story?
That's the best evidence we have now, and I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there, and I've addressed some of those on my radio program and podcast, particularly Candace Owens is pushing that. But here's what we need to remember about homicide investigations, and I had my friend Jay Warner Wallace on the podcast about a month ago to discuss how these investigations are done. The prosecution very rarely tells you what they're doing for several reasons. Their job is to convict the real killer, not to quell conspiracy theories that come up. For example, suppose they were right now investigating a second shooter, if there was one. They would not tell the public that. Why? Because if they told the public that, and then someone comes forward and says, oh, I saw the second shooter, they don't know if that guy really saw the second shooter, or that guy's just trying to make a name for himself. He's lying. Also, they don't want to taint any jury pool, and they don't want to tip off the defense on what they're doing. I know they check into conspiracy theories because I was the subject of one of them. I mean, right after Charlie was murdered, you may have remembered the guy in the white hat supposedly signaling the shooter. Well, that was me.
Yeah.
You know, and the FBI called me and said, "Were you signaling the shooter?" I said, "That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard." I mean, first of all, I'm a friend of Charlie. Second of all, why would a shooter 200 yards away looking through his scope need somebody to tell him who Charlie Kirk was? He's the one under the tent with the microphone. Everybody knows that, right?
Yeah.
He couldn't even see me. I was 25 feet off Charlie's right elbow. The shooter couldn't see him. Some of these conspiracy theories are so stupid, yet the FBI is still going to check into them. Why? Because when they get to trial, the defense is going to say, did you check about the guy in the white hat? Did you check about this conspiracy, that conspiracy? And then the FBI is going to be able to say, yeah, we checked into all of it. None of it makes any sense. Now, by the way, maybe some of these conspiracy theories might make more sense if it wasn't Kash Patel and Dan Bongino in charge at the FBI.
Yeah.
Those guys were personal friends of Charlie. Do you think they're going to not investigate this properly and intently to find the real killer?
That's a good point.
All of these conspiracy theories, and by the way, it's also in a red state too. A red state who, by the way, is very embarrassed as to what happened and should be, because it was either the state police or the campus police. I've seen the texts that say, "Oh, we got the roofs." No, you didn't have the roofs. You should be ashamed of what you didn't do. So, this is a red state, and in fact, Greg Laurie is going to be out there doing a crusade. I want to say it's the 17th of November. This was scheduled before all this happened, but he's going to be there trying to get people to realize that the truth is not works through Mormonism or Mormon theology. The truth is that you're saved by grace through faith in the real Jesus. He came to save us. So pray that's another good thing that comes out of this. But don't pay attention to conspiracy theories for people that say, well, this is possible. Look, anything's possible, but unless you have evidence for that possibility, shut up, because all you're doing is you're creating havoc for, like my friend Mikey McCoy's getting death threats. I'm getting people emailing me saying, oh, you'll never know what happened. You'll never know what could happen to you, or you ought to repent. Repent of what? Because some Yahoo is out there suggesting that this is a possibility and that's a possibility, and that person has no evidence?
Yeah, I'm with you, brother. I'm with you, brother. 100%. That was I saw somebody insinuated that it was Israeli Mossad that killed Charlie.
Yeah. Oh, there's
who was that? Who was that?
That was making the rounds. I don't know if that's still going on. There was all
no
kinds
again,
of
no evidence,
conspiracy
or anything like that. Just throw it out there.
Israelis have also been blamed for the assassination of John F. Kennedy on the internet. Yeah.
I mean,
but it wasn't. It was seed oil that killed Kennedy. Come on.
Yeah.
We all know that.
Seed
oil.
See, okay.
Oh no, it was Trump. It was Trump. I'm sorry, it was Trump that killed him.
Oh me. No. All right, Frank. All right, we'll
encourage people to pray
and watch the event too,
and to pray for Greg Laurie going out to Utah.
That event is Sunday, November 16th.
There you have Greg on.
16th. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Frank. Take care.
All right, thanks, guys.
See you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
That's Frank Turek joining us from San Francisco, California. He will be at Berkeley. That's like a suburb of San Francisco, right? Or
it is.
Right next door?
It's in that area. You've got Sacramento, San Francisco, that area. Lodi,
Oakland.
Stockton. It's all together.
And the Bay Area, they call it.
Yeah.
But anyway, the event is on the campus of the University of California at Berkeley, which, as Frank said, is the most liberal campus in America. Maybe it's tied by some others, but it's very, very liberal.
In addition to praying for Frank being out there today, I was today years old when I learned that there is actually a Turning Point USA chapter on the campus of UC Berkeley. Yeah. But because Fox and Friends, to their credit, had Frank on earlier today, and shout out to Frank because he gave the gospel in that interview. But during that segment, they also had some sound from the president of UC Berkeley's Turning Point USA chapter.
Let me just say something we're all thinking. But I didn't want to mention this in front of Frank because he's probably a little anxious already. Okay? There's going to be some protesters out there in this place.
Yeah.
Where he is.
Word has gotten out.
Huh?
Word has gotten out on the college.
There's so many lefties out there in the Bay Area. So I'm just saying, pray for Brother Frank. He's not responsible for this. This isn't his event. He's an invited speaker, but it's going to be him and that comedian
Rob
Schneider, and then I don't know who else is going to speak, but my guess is they're going to be interrupted, and during the 2,000 people in, if it were me, I wouldn't feel safe, huh?
No,
I wouldn't feel safe, and I'm sure.
Wow,
I mean, Frank's a brave man. I mean, to do this, because I would have said no, I'm not going to go there.
It is a sold-out event today, according to their website.
And let me say just one other thing too. Okay, two things. Just briefly, I didn't realize it's been 2 months. It seems like Charlie Kirk was killed 6 months ago.
Right.
There's been so much that's gone on, but Frank. He was a true friend of Charlie Kirk.
Right.
You can tell. We've been interviewing Frank for a long time. We've spoken with him face to face countless times. He's clearly still feeling the impact of Charlie Kirk's.
You can hear it in his voice.
You can hear it in his voice. This is not only the tragedy of a young married man and a father. This is a friend, a dear friend. Frank was his mentor in a lot of ways.
Right.
He is still feeling that. He may not get over it, quote unquote, get over it for years. and he is taking time to go to these events when he's asked to speak. And I could tell in his voice, this is still, he's got some trauma. He was right there. He
went to the hospital in the car
on him. Yes, this is what most of us saw on video. He was right there and saw it. And so be praying for that for Frank as well as this event and the safety of those participating. Folks, we are facing violent revolutionaries in this country. It's the percentage is of the people in that category are still very small, but they're out there. And you only need one nutcase. And so be praying. Our nation is very, very sick at heart. Going to Isaiah chapter 1. Our nation is very sick in its heart. And we need God to move. So a tip of the hat and my admiration to people like Frank and others who will put
Rob
themselves.
Schneider, the comedian,
Schneider.
I don't know him, but for him to be willing to go into that den there of secular progressives tonight. So he said to be on Rumble.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't get Rumble.
Well,
but Rumble's like a YouTube.
It's a social media video type thing.
You.
If you go to YouTube tonight and you look at Turning Point's YouTube page, you'll most likely see it because I watched Eric Trump and his wife Lara last week at Auburn on YouTube.
Okay.
Well, and then Steve Crowder, I listened on the way in. Someone had sent around, might have been Chris, sent around something.
Stephen Crowder, the commentator, the podcaster.
Commentator, and his podcast, the full thing that you can see the video podcast is also on Rumble. So that's becoming a place where conservatives can post their content and not worry about it getting sacked.
Okay. Well, we wouldn't have been sacked on YouTube either had you not talked about
ivermectin.
See there you go again.
Hydroxychloroquine.
For those who a trip down memory lane, ladies and gentlemen, during COVID, and I did this too, but Ed was talking about such things as ivermectin being effective against COVID, and YouTube heard that.
They did,
and they said, "No, you violated our community standards." And so we're cutting you off. So we got cut off from YouTube, but we're back on, right?
Right.
Did Facebook cut us off too, or I can't remember. Facebook didn't. But anyway, so we're back on YouTube. But anyway, yeah, it's a for conservatives out there, you can have your microphone turned off on certain outlets if you go against the liberal narrative on issues. And so hopefully, and that hasn't been happening as much, especially since the election. In fact, a lot of the social media platforms, I say a lot of them, Facebook, I think, basically apologized, didn't they? I remember that right?
Zuckerberg wrote a letter to House Republicans saying that the Biden
they made some mistake when they cut people off.
Mm-hmm. I think he saw the writing on the wall.
They cut people off.
I just want to say one thing before we move on. I'm having an ivermectin sandwich today at lunch.
Well, we're not endorsing that. We're just saying it could be effective against certain ailments.
Yeah.
Right?
Views and opinions expressed on
an ivermectin sandwich. I think you can get that in Australia.
Yeah.
Well, I get them sometimes at Walmart. They have those pre-packaged, sandwiches you can get. You get I'll take the ivermectin sandwich with the hydroxychloroquine wings.
Nope.
Goes great on popcorn.
Not the Buffalo Wild Wings.
Right. The hydroxychloroquine.
All right. You're listening to Today's Issues on American Family Radio. Tim, Ed, and Chris. Chris, what's your next story?
I have a big update in the sports world.
Give us a big update.
The International Olympic Committee is reportedly set to ban transgender women from competing in all-female categories. The change is set to be officially announced next year. The decision to overhaul the current policy was made after the sporting community carried out a science-based review of a biologically born male's physical advantages.
Okay, this is a big deal because the Olympics they're the gold standard of sporting competition around the world. And now the Winter Olympic Games,
they're about to start.
That's coming up in a couple months, right?
It's about February. Mm-hmm.
Okay. But then they have so 2 years from now in Los Angeles, we have the Summer Olympic Games.
I'm sure there'll be big, beautiful games.
Yes. And so remember last time during the Summer Games, we had a few of the competitions where you had males who said they were transitioning to be a female and they were allowed to compete. Remember this?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Especially boxing. Remember that guy who won, said he was a girl and he beat up on those girls.
Mm-hmm.
And then
got the gold medal, didn't he?
Yeah. And then and I don't know if this was in the Olympics. Remember the fencing?
Yes, that's I forgot about that.
It was it was definitely an international event that had some sort of.
That was when the young woman said she wasn't gonna.
Yeah, she bowed the knee and said, "I'm not fighting you," because it was a big hulking dude.
Yeah,
who said he was a girl, and so that's not going to be allowed any longer in Olympic sporting events. You're not going to be able to be born a male and then compete against women. Now that's just common sense. You would say, and yes, it is, but in today's world, that's lacking in a lot of respects, a lot of places. So good for what body made this announcement?
The International Olympic Committee, and the Winter Games that are coming up are going to be in Milano, Italy.
Yeah, see, if you don't stop this will ruin women's athletics.
Yeah.
And I think the Olympic Games knows this. You can't have men playing girls' sports and expect people to watch that stuff.
Right.
They won't, and the women will get discouraged and quit too.
Yeah. Well, that was the prediction once. I forget. It seems like it was a volleyball player or something. But anyway, I remember this goes back 4 or 5 years ago. It was during the Biden administration where she said what's going to happen is that women will be watching women's sports from the bleachers.
Yeah.
Because men pretending to be women would be taking it over.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought that was a good way of putting it.
All right. You're listening to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. We only got a minute or so to go before we take a break.
Yes.
So I will just, did you have something else?
Oh, no, you go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to tell folks if we got some tours lined up, some Christian heritage tours lined up for 2026. I know a lot of people make their plans on their vacation time off or what have you for next year now. So we have tours lined up to the Holy Land, to Greece, to Colonial. There's our tours in June and September where we go to Williamsburg, Jamestown, and Yorktown. So much American history there. And then we go to Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, and George Washington's Mount Vernon. Those trips are in June and September. And then also in September of next year, we're going to Boston, Mass., the old stomping ground of Ed Vitagliano.
That's right.
It's going to be a wicked trip.
It's going to be
wicked.
We went in October, a couple months ago, and it was a lot of fun. A lot to see in the Boston area in terms of American history. So any of those tours I just mentioned, you can see the dates, the itinerary, the cost, everything by going to wildmongroup.com, WILDMON group.com, and all the information is there. We'll be back momentarily.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
Faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio.
Do you know the largest unpaid and untrained workforce in America? It's not in a factory or an office. It's the 65 million family caregivers. And if that is you, I understand the journey you're on.
Peter Rosenberger has been a caregiver for 4 decades. He's the host for Hope for the Caregiver, Saturday mornings at 7 Central on AFR.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Steve Pugh. Democrats are divided over a deal to reopen the government.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer didn't vote to advance a bill that would expand funding until late January, saying it fails to include an extension of the Affordable Care Act tax credits.
This bill does nothing to ensure that that crisis is addressed.
But some members of his party are slamming the top Senate Democrat, California Congressman Ro Khanna, calling for Schumer to be replaced, saying, quote, "If you can't lead the fight to stop healthcare premiums from skyrocketing for Americans, what will you fight for?" 8 Democrats joined almost all Republicans to advance the bill, touting a guarantee of a December vote on extending the tax credits. On Capitol Hill, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
Secretary of Veterans Affairs Doug Collins says it is crucial to get funding going for veterans programs.
And I think the biggest thing right now is let us open the whole VA. Right now we've had our hospitals, our clinics, and all have been working just as normal. That is the one good thing about advanced appropriations, that we can make sure that all the medical needs that our veterans have are there. But we suffered a big blow and still are suffering a big blow when it comes to educational benefits, outreach, vocational rehab, a slowdown in our disability claims and benefits just a little bit because we're just having to deal with so much, folks being off. I have over 30,000 plus that are furloughed, and almost, half of those are still working but not getting paid.
The leader of Syria is in Washington to meet with President Trump. Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo reacts.
This leader was someone who was working for Al-Qaeda. He was the leader of an organization called HTS, a terror organization who was designated a terrorist by the United States of America. So pretty unlikely, but lots has transpired in Syria. Assad is gone. That is a good thing for the world and for the region, for Israel. Now the task is for him to rebuild his own country, which is deeply fragmented and had over 6 or 7 million people flee the country because of Assad's regime.
Happy 250th birthday to the United States Marine Corps. Chris Foster has more on the milestone.
The Corps was formed by the Continental Congress on November 10, 1775, primarily to protect ships and carry out amphibious landings and raids during the Revolutionary War. The Continental Marine Corps was disbanded in 1783 and reestablished by an act of Congress in 1798 as the United States Marine Corps. It's part of the Department of the Navy, a separate branch with its own chain of command. There have been 250th birthday events around the country all year. The U.S. Mint now has 100,000 commemorative silver coins for sale.
The Chicago Board of Education says students studying to be teachers at a local Christian college cannot participate in its student teaching program unless the college denies its faith.
Every year, Moody Bible Institute has about 30 students in its elementary education program. Part of the requirement of the degree is that the students spend a certain amount of time in a real classroom doing observation, practicum, and student teaching. Chicago Public Schools are saying they're not going to let Moody students into their classrooms until Moody relents from its biblical standards in its hiring practices. Moody has asked Alliance Defending Freedom to help the school district understand the finer points of the First Amendment. Attorney Jeremiah Gallus.
Religious institutions have the right to be religious, and if it were to hire those who disagree and reject what it believes and teaches, it would cease to be a religious school. They're conditioning participation on the school giving up its rights to hire those who share its faith.
ADF has filed a federal lawsuit to end the discrimination and grant Moody equal access to Chicago Public Schools' student teaching program. Dr. Ray Pritchard of Keep Believing Ministries lived in Chicago for years and even sent his son to Moody.
What the city of Chicago is saying is we don't want Moody to be Moody, or we want Moody Institute, but we don't want Moody Bible Institute, which is outrageous.
He says for 139 years, Moody Bible Institute has been shining the light of the gospel in the very heart of the city of Chicago.
I would think that a city like Chicago, with so many problems inside its public school system, would want more, not less, of the young people that are produced by a great school like Moody Bible Institute.
I'm Steve Jordahl.
More news online at afn.net and download the AFN mobile app for your Apple or Android device. I'm Rusty Pugh.
I hope you're sitting down for this. George Barna's Cultural Research Center found only 13% of born-again Christians have a biblical worldview. That means there's a huge lack of biblical life essentials in our country. AFA is committed to helping churches ignite a hunger for God. You can be part of that with your gift today, and we'll send you Dr. Alex McFarland's DVD, Do Christians Have Permission to Edit Scripture? Visit afa.net/biblical. afa.net/biblical.
Today's Issues continues on AFR with your host, Tim Wildmon, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. I'm Tim Wildmon with Ed Vitagliano, and joining us now in studio is our own Steve Paisley-Jordahl.
Good morning and afternoon, everybody.
Rocking that purple Paisley.
I told him this morning, I like it.
Purple Paisley. Yeah.
Purple Paisley.
Yeah. Steve doing his best Prince there. The artist formerly known as. So, guys, I'm thinking I need a job that I can fail at, which I can be paid millions of dollars to get fired from.
Oh.
I'm thinking that's...
You mean coaching LSU? Is that what you mean?
Well, coaching college football, Division I college football, period, not just LSU.
I don't know about you, but if I was coaching it, I'd be failing big time. So
I think that's going to stop. What we're talking about is these enormous contract buyouts that these coaches are getting. And I don't blame them. They're getting all they can. What are they going to do? Say no?
Right.
When a school offers them a contract that they get all their money that they were going to get if they get fired.
Yeah.
So
if they fail,
yes. If they fail, then they don't have to work. And you know what I'm saying? It's the most bizarre setup I've ever heard of in terms of an employer situation. But these schools, a lot of big schools now are firing their coaches in the middle of the year, their football coaches, and then having to pay them off, having to pay their contracts off.
How much? What was the line in Moneyball where the guy they brought in a high-paid veteran and everything, and he said, "I don't have to listen to you. I know what I'm doing." He says, "Let me tell you where you're at. The Yankees are paying us so that you don't have to play for them."
I forget the player's name. It was Justice, David Justice.
David Justice.
It was David Justice.
Yeah.
Listen, we're talking. We'll get into something probably a little more newsworthy, folks. But Brian Kelly, who left Notre Dame, okay, that's my favorite team.
Scorned you.
It scorned
the
Notre
fans,
Dame,
right.
and I rooted for his epic failure at LSU each and every Saturday.
That's what sports does to people.
That's right.
Makes them lose their Christianity.
Probably a nice guy, but it didn't matter.
Right.
But his record at LSU was 34-14. That's not abysmal.
No, but that's not LSU.
But that's not LSU.
It's also in the SEC.
The pressure on these coaches. So to your point, you get offered whatever, $60 million or whatever they offered him initially. You get offered it, you say yes, because chances are.
I think that the problem is with the schools and their athletic administrations, whoever decides to give a contract like that. But what happens is you say, well, why would you do something like that? What happens is it's so highly competitive that if school A offers a coach a certain amount of money, then school B needs to keep up. They feel like so they got to get a coach also that's high profile and a winner and can move their program to the top of the country. So it's just it's gotten crazy out of hand.
I can't imagine that a college would pay a coach so much that it loses money even if it wins a national champion. I think this talks to how much a school makes if it wins a national championship.
LSU, if I'm not mistaken, they also have to pay another former coach.
Oh, Ed Orgeron, who won a national championship.
Yes. So they're in.
They told him you're being fired and we're going to pay you so much money if you go quietly. I think Ed Orgeron, and he said, "Hey, just show me which door you want me to go out."
How do you know that's what he said?
That was the rumor story anyway.
Yeah, I don't know how you know what Ed Orgeron said. You can never understand the guy.
He had a thick Cajun accent. He fit LSU like a T.
He did.
Ultimately, he didn't win enough. He won a national championship, and 2 years later, he's gone.
Nick Saban won a national championship at LSU too.
He did.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Before going on to dominate at
Alabama.
Before
getting out of the game because NIL and transfer portals and everything. And I think that's another reason. That's another reason why they have to pay coaches so much to put up with all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, folks, thank you for those who are listening who don't like football or don't like college football. Thank you for letting us have our moment.
Yeah.
Don't like college football.
I'm sure there's some out there. Listen, I had them when I pastored. People who didn't like football who would say people who like football are idolaters. And I would say, you show me what you like.
Right.
And anyway.
Right. I know. I agree.
I'm not
So
overly
how much-
sensitive about
How much
this.
did they have to pay you when they fired you from that church? Is what I want to know.
Yeah. What was your contract? What did it call for when you got fired?
Listen, I have a non-disclosure
Okay.
agreement.
Okay. You reached an agreement? Okay. Huh? You will
non-disclosure agreement.
You will give the lawnmower back to the church.
The lawnmower.
Right?
No, we had one of our elders used to mow the grass. Listen, it was
Tell that story that you haven't told in a long time, because we used to talk about how the pastors, in the old days the pastors had to live in parsonages. Because I grew up in a parsonage till I was 13 or 14, and my dad said he was a Methodist and they had parsonage, but he said, you know what? Talking to the church, the new church, he said, I'm gonna buy my own house.
Yeah.
I don't no disrespect, but I don't want to live in a rented house.
Yeah, you got to have because at some point you retire.
That's
or
what my dad said. One day I'm going to retire and
got to have somewhere to live.
Got to have somewhere to live, and so plus I don't want my family living in the parsonage that the church owns all the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he had that approach, but that was novel. That would have been back in the mid '70s, and if you told a church you didn't want to live in their parsonage, a lot of the parishioners took offense to that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but
no,
you were telling me about the story. You were telling me about what happened to you. You were serving the church, right?
Yeah. I was an interim pastor. This is my wife's home church. Okay, so down in central Mississippi.
Let's don't give any names, though.
No,
okay?
I'm not.
Okay.
Because I love the people there. And so this is the one and only time we lived in a parsonage. Because I was interim. And I was telling Tim about how people at the church considered the parsonage, even if you're living in it, to be theirs. And I walked out on a Saturday morning, and there was someone from the church getting the hose off the faucet. And I said, "Hey, brother, what are you doing?" He said, "I'm borrowing the hose." I said, "Why?" He said, "I pay tithes. I'll bring it back."
I can't believe he said that. Huh?
Yeah, that's.
Would you stand there stunned? Even
what
for
was
an
I supposed
Italian?
to do? It's like I can't call the cops. It's technically not my hose.
So he took the hose. Did he bring it back?
He did. Yeah.
I thought for some reason I had it in my mind he had taken he borrowed the lawnmower.
No, I had my own lawnmower. Now, if he'd come in and try to take the George Foreman grill, we might have had more than words. Okay.
First church I ever took as a music pastor out of seminary, we lived in the parsonage, and they still charge us rent.
Ooh,
It
was brutal.
Bad.
Also, they had some of these parsonages had furniture that was
from the 60s.
Yeah, broken down. Huh?
I don't remember the furniture being that bad.
After my wife and I were there,
you need to be thankful, brother.
Yes.
That the church is providing for you.
Yeah, they what was the old joke that deacons or elders, whatever, they open their business meeting by Lord, you keep the pastor humble, we'll keep him poor. My wife informed me after that short time, like a year maybe a year and a half in the parsonage. My wife informed me, no more parsonages. I'm with you, Ed, to the ends of the earth.
Right.
As
No more
long as we don't
parsonage.
wind up in a parsonage.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I'll still be married to you, but we'll be living separately.
What did y'all do when you were on the mission field, Steve?
We had a house that we rented.
Yeah.
It was Madagascar. The main city of Madagascar was fairly
modern.
Fairly modern. I mean, it'd be like living in Mexico City or something. We had it was a livable place. Not bad.
You know, this is what my wife always tells me. I probably shouldn't have been that specific talking about where the church was located.
Right.
Because those folks are dear friends of mine. Some of them will be lifelong friends. They weren't the ones that came to get the hose.
And he brought
it's
the
not
hose
their
back.
fault.
He did bring the hose
He brought
back.
the hose back.
I give it to him.
Yeah.
He brought the hose back. Did he hook it back up?
You know,
You remember that?
We're talking way back in the 80s.
You need to leave it bring it back to where you found it.
Yeah.
You know, that's
I don't remember.
Girl Scouts.
Yeah.
Isn't that the Girl Scouts?
I was never a Girl Scout, although I imagine there are some boys who are currently Girl Scouts.
I don't think that's Girl Scout motto.
If you borrow it.
No, I don't think that's. I think that's just an old.
That's just being a decent
old saying.
Yeah.
Whatever. All right, you're listening to today's issues on American Family Radio. You know, leave it better than you found it.
Yes.
That principle.
Right.
It's one of the scouting people.
One of those scouting groups.
Say that. All right, Steve, what's your first news story for us there?
There has been a shakeup at the British Broadcasting Corporation, the BBC.
BBC.
It's Director General and Editor-in-Chief, and its CEO. Deborah Turnus, the CEO, Tim Davie, the Editor-in-Chief, have both resigned after the BBC was caught doctoring some video of Donald Trump during January 6th, where they made it sound like he was encouraging his people to fight, as opposed to what he actually said. I'm going to play you a short little clip. It has the first is what the BBC played, and the second is what actually what happens. Cut 17.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you, and we fight. We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women.
He also said that we're going to go peacefully and legally protest.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
That the BBC, they may be the largest news agency in the world. I don't know. Reuters is there, and maybe the Associated Press, but pardon me. You got you have the BBC now. They're obviously they dominate Britain, but still their news services worldwide. And they did it. That was a documentary they did.
It was.
And they intentionally spliced together President Trump's words to make him look like you heard it.
Yeah.
To make him seem like he was saying go to the Capitol and fight.
Right.
When he didn't say that at all. He said the second one you played, which was the accurate one.
Now, I don't know if the fact that Donald Trump is threatening to sue the BBC for $1 billion had anything to do with this.
Hey, he's been pretty successful with these lawsuits.
They also have cited coverage of the transgender issue and coverage of the Gaza war, of mishandling both of those.
No, they're lefties. The BBC, they're lefties. It's hard to find any big news agencies anymore that aren't left-leaning on issues. But I'm glad that at least somebody had to pay the price. So a couple people were fired for doing that.
Well, no, they say
they resigned.
They resigned. They say they left voluntarily.
Well,
now this I think you mentioned her, Deborah Turness. She's the CEO of BBC News. She also resigned along with Tim Davie. But she said, I want to be absolutely clear. Recent allegations that BBC News is institutionally biased are wrong. So she resigned, but still defended BBC News, saying that they're not institutionally biased, but that in this particular case, I guess the offense was so egregious. I think they are probably institutionally biased, but once you're in that echo chamber, you don't know you're biased because everyone around you has the same viewpoints.
Yeah.
But I hadn't thought about this, Steve, but your point about Trump suing them may very well be a part of this spate of resignations.
He has fared well, as you guys say, in those suits here, at least on this side of the pond.
Well, I mean, look, the fact that they absolutely cut up his speech to make it look like he was advocating violence or allegedly advocating violence is proof that this was...
That feels like...
They were intent on making him look as bad as possible.
Yeah, feel like...
Next story, Steve.
All right. In the wake of the end of the government shutdown, a lot of Democrats are saying that they're going to kill the filibuster if they get the chance, and Republicans are saying maybe we should do it first. Here's the battle. I want to play you something from James Carville, who is talking about fixing the Supreme Court, and to do this, they'd have to nuke the filibuster. Listen to what he has to say is coming. Cut 16.
I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. A Democrat is going to be elected in 2028. You know that. I know that. It's going to be a Democratic House. It's going to be a Democratic Senate. The Democratic president is going to announce a special transition advisory committee on the reform of the Supreme Court, that we could have our third branch of government has lost the faith and trust of American people. And they're going to recommend that the number of Supreme Court justices go from 9 to 13. That's going to happen, people. That's going to happen to you. And a Democratic Senate and House are going to pass it, and the Democratic president is going to sign it, because they have to do an intervention so we can have a Supreme Court that the American people trust again. So just keep that in the back of your mind. And I would bet a lot of money that that's what's going to happen. A lot.
Okay.
Now explain who he was.
James Carville is a Democrat strategist.
And he was in the Clinton administration.
During the Clinton administration,
he
married
was
to conservative Marilyn Marley Matlin, but I don't know if she's.
Well, he doesn't have a good track record of predictions recently. If you look back at some of the things he's predicted would happen.
Could be. Do you doubt that the Democrats would nuke the filibuster if they had the chance?
Okay.
I think so. Go ahead.
This is when people throw things at me. My own teammates. They turn against me. Some of our listeners will turn against me because they'll say, "What are you thinking?"
Yeah.
I'm not so sure, because the Democrats had a chance last time. Now, would the vast majority of senators vote to do away with the filibuster on the Democrat side? Yes. But you may have enough Joe Manchins. It only takes a handful of them to disagree, as we've seen.
John Fetterman.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. But both sides, Republicans and Democrats, okay, I'm not talking about the ideas of the parties right now. I'm talking about the process. But both sides want to ditch the filibuster when it's preventing them from instituting their policy, okay? And then when the roles are reversed, then they're in support of the filibuster, because it's the only tool they have to prevent the imposition of the other team's policy, okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
mutually assured destruction.
You just rank hypocrites, both of them, when they flip this. Not all of them. Not all. There are some senators who are principled on keeping or getting rid of the filibuster. I understand the wisdom. There is some wisdom in the filibuster for this reason. It keeps a simple majority from just ramming through any kind of crazy, nutty policy that you want to institute that affects the whole country.
Right.
Okay? On the other hand, and Tim 2.0 seems to favor this, and that is, listen, it should be the will of the majority. You shouldn't have to have a, quote, supermajority to pass legislation, because that isn't the way the Constitution was set up in the first place. So you just deal with the consequences of a country that's deeply divided, and that's how it is. The filibuster policy, again, was not in the Constitution. It was put in there by the Senate itself to keep where you would have to at least show some 60 votes, I think it is.
It originally was 66.
60.
Yeah.
But at least you have to have 50 and then plus 10. So you have to have some support theoretically from the other party, at least some minimal support to get legislation passed. That's the idea.
I
Go
would
ahead.
be in favor of the filibuster if it was a real filibuster.
Okay.
In other words, where you had to talk.
Okay.
And everyone else was captive in the Senate. And now what they do is they just announce, all right, we're doing filibuster. Let's all go have lunch.
Right.
You know, so the filibuster from Mr. Smith Goes to Washington,
right,
where the Senate had to sit there and listen.
Right.
Okay. That to me is valuable, but it's valuable in part because it prevents the Senate from just saying, we're never going to vote for what your bill is.
Right.
And, well, like with the shutdown, okay? So I would be in favor of the filibuster if they actually had to speak, and then they couldn't. Then they had to vote.
Okay, this has been a real problem for, I think it was President Bush, George W., and then for Obama. Remember, Obama got so frustrated he couldn't get anything passed. Remember, he did this speech where he said, well, I'll tell you what, I have a phone and a pen.
Yeah.
Meaning I'll just sign executive orders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And after that, then Biden did the auto pen, you know, and now Trump just has probably shattered a record of executive orders. So the presidency, the president, whoever's been president, Democrat or Republican, has gotten very frustrated with the logjam because our country's 50-50.
Yeah.
Right. That's just the way it is. But so they get frustrated and then they start just signing executive orders.
Because
everywhere.
Congress is dysfunctional because they can't get anything done.
But that's because of the voters.
Well,
it's 50-50 across the country.
We could talk about, and I don't want to get way off the beaten path here in terms of members of Congress. Their only job, their most important job, is getting reelected. But because Congress is dysfunctional with these huge spending, omnibus spending bills, all that kind of stuff.
What are they called?
Omnibus
spending bills, yeah,
where you don't have a bill on transportation
right,
and a separate bill.
So throw them all in there together.
Throw them all in there together. Everyone's protected. We're going to vote for everything. And because Congress is dysfunctional for a number of reasons, that's kind of warped the executive branch.
Yeah.
Where the now presidents, to get anything done, have to do it by executive order.
Yeah.
It's not a good – the system is broken. I don't know how to get it fixed.
Okay. Well, we're counting on you.
Well, I'll come up with something by tomorrow.
Come up with something, please.
Yeah.
All right, Steve. So we got a minute to go here.
All right. I think, do we have time to play the Russell Brand? Russell Brand was on with Alex Jones and decided to present the gospel before they got kind of crazy on the interview. But let's listen to that cut 15.
You sound and look way more powerful than you were before. So I'm saying, how is it moving from the devil, which you weren't consciously serving, but moving to Christ? What is the difference?
Ecclesiastes. For in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. Yeah, right, it's painful to wake up. It's not just joyful, the embrace of Christ and the love of the Lamb. There is also a great pain in it. Can I do this thing first? Because a minute ago, Alex said, you were with the devil, right? And that sounds very vivid to people. And that's not what it's like. Because it's not like I was attending satanic ceremonies.
No, but you just slip into it.
It's self. The word is self. If you are worshipping yourself, the devil has you. You can only avoid the devil by remaining in Christ.
That's pretty good preaching there.
Mm-hmm.
By Russell
that was Russell Brand. He's a former comedian and social commentator and what, actor? Maybe?
Yeah.
Anyway, he evidently, when some of these celebrities have quote conversions, you wonder, are they doing it for a particular reason? But he sounds like he's a genuine convert.
He's certainly taken it to the lengths most people.
He's a very smart man.
Yeah,
very smart.
You said that about me, haven't you?
I have. You're a very smart man too.
Thank you. All right, and I can, same is true of you.
Well, thank you.
And
Steve.
Thank you.
And Brent.
And Brent, yeah,
smart
everybody's a winner here.
Cole Green.
Yeah.
Smart man.
Everybody gets a trophy. All right, we're out.
Don't forget, it's Hernando Cortex's day.
Right. Look him up. We'll see you back here tomorrow, everybody. Have a great afternoon.